Hey, come on in. So I'm looking for a clear picture in this magazine of a face or an object, and yep, I reckon this will work great. Rippity rip. And I'm going to fold it in a really simple concertina way. So folding it forwards, then folding it back. My folds are about 1 centimetre wide. And of course, the main question is, why though? Well, I figure this is a nifty way of distorting the image. It will allow me to view it in a different way and force me to think differently as I try and paint it. Because yes, this video is all about distorting an image and then trying to paint the oddness that we see. Let's give it a go. So as you can see, in pulling out this zigzag fold, the portrait is already getting an interesting makeover. Certain features, like the eyes, can look very different from different angles. To keep it at a consistent angle for me to reference, I'm going to have it simply laying in front of me at a certain distance, which means from my eye line, this is what I see. Okay, time to sketch. Now, if you've seen a video of mine before, you'll know I'm never aiming for perfection, just for play. So I'm not going to judge myself too harshly if any of this goes weirdy. In many ways, that's sort of the point of this exercise. I am in no way a good portrait painter. I need to practice drawing faces a lot more to feel confident and find likeness. But that's probably why this particular art experiment lured me in. In viewing the reference in this way, I'm seeing it in sections and the portrait is therefore broken down into individual parts. All of a sudden, it doesn't feel so intimidating. The only minor downfall of this technique is that it can send your eyeballs a bit funny. At this point, I sketched in an extra line of head and then kept wondering why it looked so pointy. It was only when I started painting the hairline later that I figured it out, but hey ho, on we go. I'm using gouache paints because I need the practice. I got these a while back in an Artful box and I have no other gouaches to compare them to, but they always seem quite nice to paint with. I still don't really know what I'm doing with them, but hey, that's what practice is for. I especially find painting skin tones tricky in any medium, so when you see me making funny colour choices, please be patient with me. Ah look, I figured it out! Pointy head be gone! There are so many points in this that I put a colour down, like the murky colour I just put in the eyes here. And I thought, oh well, I've ruined that now, because ugh. But amazingly, when it dried, it was more okay than expected. So I have to try and remember that for my next gouache session. Don't trust the initial colour. I gotta say, I know this looks odd, but I am finding it strangely satisfying to paint. I don't have to worry about how one part of the face flows into the next. I just have to focus on one section at a time. It feels very unprecious. Oh dear. Am I giving them sideburns? No. I'm trying to create darker contrast on that side of the face, but I'm not really succeeding. Also, this is all pretty wet now, and colours are running into each other, so I need to let it dry a bit before adding more. So, while we wait, let's try another type of distortion. Alright, I have my iPad and I've imported an image of a flower arrangement into Procreate. I'm using the liquefy adjustment on the pinch brush setting. Wee! Ooh! It looks like the vase has a pair of lips. Smoochy. So yeah, okay, I think that is different enough to make it funny to paint, but it still looks like a vase of flowers. So let's sketch it out and start painting. Once I had the main colours, I knew I'd have to fill in the black background before going further, so I plopped that on and left it to dry while I returned to my now drier face painting. I was glad to see that the dark brown sideburns had dried lighter and were not sideburning so hard anymore. Phew! I added in some eyelashes. I feel I went a bit over the top with them, but never mind. I went back to the vase with a fine white paint pen. I decided to outline it all in white on a whim, and I think it helped lift it a bit. While I had the pen out, I popped over to the face and added some eye highlights and some sparkles on the clothing. I also took a punt and drew the dividing lines in. I wasn't sure about this on the first couple, but I pushed on through and I rather like it now. So once I had ripped off the tape, this is how it looked. The skin tones are of course not quite right yet, but as a practice with gouache, I don't think it's bad. Later that day, I decided to colour a little over the top of some patches with pencils, and so this is the final version. I'm not sure if the pencils helped that much. I was trying to make the darker areas better, but it was worth an experiment. Anywho, thanks for coming along with me to the end, friend. It means a lot to have you here. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do consider clicking the like button, and if you wanna be art buddies, the subscribe button is never far away. Is this an art exercise you might try? How would you distort your reference image? By scrunching, ripping, rolling? Let me know in the comments. Stay curious, keep making happy, and I will see you next time.